Well, it's my great pleasure to have an old school buddy on today, Harry Whitehead. Harry and I were at school together, so we've known each other pretty much for most of our lives. And I'm can't wait to hear what Harry has to say. This may be an adults only version of Fighting Men of Rhodesia because Harry Whitehead has always been a naughty bugger. And I don't think anything's changed over the years. But Harry, brother, it's wonderful to see you again. You're looking in good health, and can't wait to hear what you've got to say. I think Harry's in Florida. I think, is that right? Yeah,
Correct, South
yeah.
Florida.
Yeah, so it's about 7 o'clock at night there, and it's about 7 o'clock in the morning here in the Philippines. But both of us live in a hot area, so it's already 25 degrees outside. I see. Yeah, I don't know what it's like there in Florida. But Harry, tell us a little bit about your past and where you went to school, and try not to talk about me too much because I'm sure you got lots of stories about me. And how you and where you did your national service and how you ended up in the RLI.
Okay, John. Yeah, sure. It's an absolute pleasure to be on this format. I was a kind of my dad died when I was about three, so um, the best thing for my mother to do was to ship me off to boarding school. And I went to Reps in the Metopus, a junior school, which was very well played because I loved it there. That was a fantastic school to go to for a young boy. Um, Out in the bush, boys' boarding school, uh, sort of Rhodesian answer to what the Americans might call a military school. Anyway, I excelled there. I actually became a prefect there in my last year, which was surprising. I think the headmaster had this sort of reasoning that it takes a crook to catch a crook. Anyway, it was sort of traditional for Reps boys to go on to Plumtree. And that's what I did. Plumtree, a very traditional Rhodesian school, also out in the bush, boys' boarding school. Things went well there up until the later years when I started realizing that there were women in the world, and there was beer and cigarettes. and Jim Beef and I didn't actually see eye to eye. So for one reason or another, I had to leave that place. And long story short, Guinea Fowl was the only school that would accept me. So off I went to Guinea Fowl, which again was another boys' boarding school out in the bush. And I did the rest of my schooling in Guinea Fowl. In my sixth year there, of course, everyone had studies and seniors. I was relegated to the prep room. I didn't have a study. I didn't have a prefect's tie. I didn't have a senior's tie. I was just like a normal bloke. And finished my time there, waltzed and danced out of the gate. And they just gave me enough time to unpack my school trunk when I was called up for duty at Llewellyn Barracks. And that was for national service. Now, in those days, it was a year's national service, and we had the luck to be sent off to Adams Barracks, 5 Indep in Mutari, Umtali.
Okay.
And that was great. It was the best thing that could ever happen to anyone in the army.
Yeah.
A lovely posting. We were doing border patrol duties, and it was quite tame. The Frelimo, the Freds, were patrolling their border, and we were told if we ever did confront them, we were to wave, and they waved back. It was crazy. I do remember one instance where we waved and they shot at us. And so we, of course, returned fire, and there was a little bit of a contact there. No one hurt on our side. I don't know about their side. It was all fun. We had RLs, not the new vehicles that came into the army. So we were hammering those RLs up and down the Manicaland border.
Is this about 1975, Harry?
Yeah, it was great fun. Now at Adams Barracks, there was a guy, Captain Ian Robinson. Rest in peace. He actually met with a tragic end. He was flying in a chopper with some other high-ranking officers, and they hit a cable, which was stretched from one copy to another.
Yeah, yeah.
You might remember this. They were all tragically.
Yeah, I think General Shaw was on board. I think I know Lieutenant Colonel D.G. Parker, the king of the RLI,
correct.
was on board as well, also tragically killed. Yeah, apparently it was in a valley, a cable that wasn't on the maps, and or was on old maps, but when the new maps came out in 1974, this cable wasn't there on the map, and they flew right into it.
Yes, terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, I spent many nights in the bar at Adams Barracks with Ian Robinson. He was a great guy. And he always said to me, you know, Whitehead, you should join the RLI. And I kind of kept that in the back of my thoughts. When I finished my year's national service, went back into Civvy Street and was immediately called up again for call-ups. And then at that time, they had what was called continuous call-up. So we would go out for six weeks, come back for 10 days RLR, and be called up again. At that time, a really good friend of mine, Mike Watson, who I had met at Guinea Fowl, he got shot in a contact. He was in the RLI. So he was on sick, lame, and lazy duties, repairing his wounds. And I bumped into him in one of the bars in town, and he said, "Hey, come on, man, come and join us." So I said, "Well, I don't really know if I can I?" He said, "Look, I'll go and speak to the boss." And he went and spoke to Pat Armstrong, who was the major of Sport Commando. And he said, "Bring him in." So there you go. I just kind of walked into Sport Commando, and wow. My whole life changed. Yeah. And that was the beginning of that. Now, I didn't really have a contract. Normally when you sign on as a regular, it's for 3 years or 5 years, or I never had a set contract, but I just kept quiet about it. I was so grateful for being accepted. I didn't have to go to training troop or anything. I just
really
went straight in, got my beret and stable belt, and I was there.
Oh, shit, lucky bugger.
Yeah, so I didn't ponder on the issues of a contract or anything like that. Anyway, time went on, and Mike came back from healing his wounds, and we were in the same troop. It was great. It was the start of many things. Para course.
Right.
We all got our wings. And
where did you go to para course, Harry?
At New Sarum.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we were actually, I think, the second para course.
Right.
To be done. Was it 2 Commando who did the first one? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So we were then para-trained, and it it was a new role for Fire Force.
Yeah.
It was damn scary, man. It was, Fire Force is scary at the best of times. But now this parachuting in was another thing. You were more scared of jumping out the door than what was waiting for you down the bottom.
Of course, yeah.
And if it was a lemon, of course, and we had to come back and land, that was even more terrifying. Land in a deck, overloaded. Sometimes the boss would say, "Look, just jump out." You know, we did a lot of para fire force at Motoko,
Yeah.
and he would say, "Look, just make it a training jump and jump out rather than land on that airstrip."
Yeah. Yeah.
Frightening.
Get another jump
Then,
in your logbook, eh?
yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. And then, and it was classified as an op jump because you're in the op area. So,
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah, so it was bonus.
So in your logbook, Harry, your I think your training jumps were written in blue and op jumps were written in red.
I seem to remember something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you don't still have your logbook.
No, I lost that. It'll come later in our story tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, we did some interesting jumps operational. There was the Chamoyo we jumped into there.
Oh wow! Don't gloss over that, Harry. Give us some details, man.
You know, my memory is a little bit hazy on that, and I know it was we didn't. There were a lot of tours killed, but we weren't. We didn't get much in that respect. I think it was largely the Air Force that took credit for the bulk of those kills.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But Tembwe was another one, which was
Okay.
that camp up near Tanzania. We had to cross. We
Chamoyo
had to
Part
fly
2.
over. Yeah, we had to fly over Kabura Bassa.
Yeah.
That was an interesting one. We were piled into this. There weren't many aircraft, and so we were pushed into a sanctions. One of the sanctions busting guys lent his
Yeah.
plane to us.
Yes. Yes.
A huge bloody thing. It took more than double what a DAC would take.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So we were in this thing, and it
Jack
wasn't
Malek's. That was Jack Malek's aircraft. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It
In
wasn't
fact,
even painted
were you
hammer.
with? Sorry, I'm interrupting you. Were you with Log Enslin?
Yes, he was our. He was actually in our troop. He was our troop sergeant here, color ensign, and became
Sergeant Major. Yeah.
CSM later. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he was my troop sergeant in 14 Troop 3 Commando before he joined Support Commando. Yeah.
Right.
So we
Yeah,
have that in common. I never knew that we had that in common.
yeah.
The
Log
log
is
instinct.
quite a
Yeah.
character. Anyway, we were flying in this thing which wasn't really equipped or designed for military purposes,
Yeah.
and we had, I think it was 2 commando guys with us.
Yeah.
I seem to remember Jimmy Swan being in there for some reason or other.
Yes.
And when we got to the D-bus points where they kick you out the door, oh, the exit was frightening. It was like a big bang, and the static line made a hell of a different noise, and anyway, we were all marching towards the door, getting kicked out. And one guy, about 3 or 4 in front of me, he said, "No, I'm not jumping. Fuck that, I'm not jumping." Jimmy Swan was by the door. He said, "You've got to," and he just booted him out. It was quite dramatic. And then I'm coming to the door. I think, oh shit, I'm not going to get booted out. I'm jumping, man. Terrifying. Bloody, you couldn't give a shit what's going to happen to you down there, but getting out of there was terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that scene. That was another one where we came back with choppers, obviously, and that was quite a hairy flight back because fuel was a problem. We had to stop on an island in the middle of Kabura Bassa to refuel.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was at night, and we all had blood and shit splattered all over us. So when we got back to camp, late at night, the boss just said, "Go home, go and do what you do."
Yeah.
So off we went with blood splattered all over us and stinking like shit. And that was an eye opener for the chicks who were waiting for us. uh, yeah. And then, yeah, that was that. Then, gee, then I got a real, I was really privileged to go on a diving course in Cape Town.
Oh, wow.
With a bunch of SAS guys and a couple of Zulu Scouts, heavy duty owns.
In Simonstown, Harry?
Yeah, Simonsburg.
Simonstown.
No, they call it Simonsburg,
Uh,
the
uh,
Navy base in
the Navy
Simonsburg.
base. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
And yeah, we were with that Zulu Scout that got the Grand Cross of Valor.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
was, he was with us. Oh, what a character. So we had fun. And that was a brilliant course. It was just
Yeah.
run by absolute professionals. And that took 3 months.
Gosh.
So that was good fun. 3 months away from that siren, that dreaded siren at Fire Force. It was good fun. We were issued with Rolex Oysters watches,
Yes.
special diving watches. So late one night in Cape Town, I ran out of beer money, so I bloody sold mine. That bought a lot of beer and dancing girls and everything.
Gosh,
And I
Harry.
didn't know we had to give these damn things back because at the end of the course, they wanted their watch back. And I said, oh, fuck that, man. That bloody thing got lost, man.
Gee whiz, that's quite something because I mean, are you not in got in Civvy Street? You could work as a diver, eh?
Yeah, I did actually. After I left the army, I did do a bit of diving work, diamond diving
Okay, yes, yeah,
in Namibia.
yeah. Barry Borden, did you ever meet Barry doing diamond
Yeah,
diving?
yeah, but I didn't know he did diving.
Yeah, remember? Yeah, I remember Guy Borden was in our class in Plumtree. Uh, they
Yes, yes.
they had a farm at Ncisa, and his brother Barry was in the Sleuth Scouts and also went diamond diving. But I digress now. Talking about Tembwe, the boss, he said the boss said we must just go out on the town. Was that Nigel Henson?
No, it was actually Pat Armstrong. Oh, no,
Uh,
it might have been not Nigel Henson. Yeah, no, it might have been. Yes, it was Nigel Henson. Correct.
okay, yeah, I'm sure Nigel was the boss at Tembwe. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, quite correct. It was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then actually another really good course I did um, was a sniper's course.
Wow.
And that was run by Sergeant Clive Masson, absolute professional in his field. Um, he's no more. Unfortunately, he was killed in one of the ops. He was a Zulu Scout. Brilliant course. Take me to a fun fair with those little pellet guns, and I'll nail it. I'll win the biggest teddy bear. All thanks to him.
What weapons did you use, Harry? Apart from
We,
a 3006 hunting rifle or something, you know? Did
no,
they?
no. Funnily
Did you?
enough, we used our FNs with a Trilux sight. He
Okay.
taught us. Yeah, he taught us a different role of sniping. It was combat sniping. I must say, I never ever used the skill in the army, but many a fun fair have lost all their teddy bears and.
Okay, so it wasn't the whole heavy barreled FN thing.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, no. We did it in a little farm by Sonoya Caves,
Okay.
and we went and spent about a month traipsing around there, doing all sorts of. He was an absolute professional.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, Harry, that's really interesting because I've always kind of thought that we never had snipers in the Rhodesian army, but but sounds like you did some interesting stuff with the RLI, you know?
Yeah, really, really. I was in assault pioneer troop
Yeah,
in Support Commando, and that afforded us to do all sorts of. We had demolitions, a lot of engineering type work, bridges, and it was a really diverse troop,
yeah, yeah,
diverse skills. Yeah. Anyway, one thing that, well, it's not one thing. The army taught us so many things. I'm sure you'll agree, John. Dress code. I still line myself up. I still line up with a belt, um, and many other things. Um, respect respect the rank. I didn't necessarily respect the man, but respect the rank. I mean, because there were some prize pricks there with rank. Respect the rank.
yeah.
And one of the guys, our CSM, Piggy Payne, Phil Payne. God, well, I mean, look, the CSM's job is to be a prick. That's what they've got to be. But he was a good one. He was a really good one. We were at Fire Force in the Lowveld somewhere, where we sort of moved from Cherezi to Fort Vic. And at that time, instead of the whole commando going on R&R, they would send one troop. So in effect, the commando was staying in the bush. So Mike and we said, well, look, we'll just stay because we can save money. Instead of going and blowing it all in the 10 days, we'll get a good pool. And then when we go for 10 days, it's going to be a good 10 days. So we did that. And I think we stayed the third trip was getting to our nuts. And no, we got to go now. But it wasn't our turn. So we approached our Phil Payne and said, hey, come on, man, we want to go home now. We want to go and have a rest. So he said, look, the best I can do for you is I'll give you a liberty run. You can go and have a blast in Fort Vic. But you got to be back at midnight. Don't play with me. Be back at midnight. Okay, so off we go. Of course, 1 a.m. in the morning, we're not back yet. And he's sitting at the boom waiting. And we turn up there just after 1. Jesus, he went ballistic, man. And in the middle of his rant, he started having a coughing fit. And he's very... So Mike and I beating him on the back. And then we saw our cue. Yes, yeah, this is a chance to beat the sergeant major. So I'd whack him, and then Mike would whack him, rather like those nannies who are grinding the maid. Bum, bum, bum. Hitting him hard on the back. And miraculously, it did the job, and he stopped coughing. He actually thanked us. And then he said, right, get to your wank pits and I'll see you in the morning. So the morning came and we were shitting ourselves a bit. We thought, hey, now we're in the trap. Nothing. He didn't say anything.
Okay.
So we thought, well, this is a good time to go and approach him. Hey, sir, we really want to go home, then, So he said, okay, look, I'll see what I can do. I'll speak to the major. Next thing, we called into the major's tent. Henson. And he said, right, what you two, you want to go home? Okay, I've got a task for you. Now, Support Commando had an anti-tank troop. And we had these 2.5s with 106 recoilless rifles mounted on them.
Right.
And the 2 of them needed service. And they could only be serviced at the MT yard at Cranbourne Barracks.
Right.
So Henson said, right, you two are tasked with taking these things back to Bright Lights. When you get them there, you deliver them to the MT yard, and you can go and have your bloody R&R. Oh, Jesus, fantastic. So off we go, boy. From Fort Vic. It's about a 3-hour drive, you know, but these things can haul ass, eh?
Yeah.
So we're putting foot with these damn things that I think we did in about 2.5 hours. I'm hauling along. Mike's in front of me and I'm behind him. Just as you're coming into Salisbury, there's the Mukavusi Bridge. And just after that bridge, you have to hang a right and go to camp that way, the back streets. But I had ideas of, no, man, let's go into town and skit with these bloody 2.5s, man. The heavy skitting with these vehicles. And we decided on this when we stopped at Inkeldorn at the ladies, the place where they give you free lunch and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And so Mike said, no, we must go on the proper route. And then eventually he said, yeah, okay, well, let's do it. Let's just we'll drive through town. So I'm hauling after him. Now, for some reason or other, he must have thought, no, we better just do the right thing. But I'm not looking, I'm lighting a smoke or something. Next thing I look up and he stops, he's in front of me. I just hit the brakes. Those tires were howling, not screeching. It was like a smoke. And from about 120 kilometers an hour to stop. The barrel was just pointed, just stopped an inch away from his vehicle. We nearly, I mean, I still have nightmares about that. I imagine writing that thing off.
Yeah.
The boss had given us special bloody privilege to take these things. Oh my God. Anyway, eventually we got the damn thing safely to the MT yard. And then we go to the Commando barracks. And who's waiting there for us? The QM. It's a Corporal Chris Myers. And he says, no, you guys. You've been sent here to help me. You're not going to town. No. He's doing an inventory check of the whole barracks. So we had to sit there with bloody clipboards and counting fucking like cupboard cuckers.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear that word, cupboard cucker?
No, when us it was jam stealers and oxygen thieves, you know.
Yeah. Those are the same guys, these cupboard cuckers. So we helped him as best we could, and then the next thing we're on the blower to the boss. Now we want to come back to the bush. Fuck this. Good times. So
I wonder if the boss, Nigel Henson, I'm sure he's going to listen to this episode. I'm sure he doesn't know the story of how you nearly pranged his 2.5.
He definitely doesn't.
I wonder if it's too late for him to put you on a charge.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll watch this. Anyway, he's a good guy. He's a Plumtree boy too.
Yeah, that's right. He is. Yeah.
Now, anyway, then the war kind of went sideways as far as I could. CTs were surrendering, and we had to take them in, and it was unheard of, you know. And the next thing they would be on sides with us. Didn't agree with that, didn't like it. So my friend Dan Rawson had a private pilot's license. And one day I just said to him, hey, fly me out of here. I'm done. I've had enough. And he flew me to Messina with my girlfriend.
Sure.
And dropped us there, and we hitchhiked to Joburg. And that was the end of my RLI.
So you just went AWOL. That's
As far as I know, RLI thought I had gone to try out for SAS because
okay.
I had made murmurings of that. And then SAS thought that I went to Sulu Scouts. So I was a little bit lost, lost in the. And like I explained, I had no contract.
Yeah,
I wasn't, I wasn't bound by any contract.
yeah, yeah.
So that was that. And in those days, I set myself up in Joburg. Um, there was everyone was looking at ways. How do you get money out of Rhodesia? And there were these. You could buy uncut Sandawana emeralds.
Yes, yes.
And I got involved in that lot. And getting them out was another story. But my girlfriend then, I thought, right, well, let me send her back, and she can bring them back. And that'll
The
do.
mule. The mule.
So I turned her into a mule. And at the same time, I thought, well, just try this. Here's my cabs book, because we used to get paid into cabs,
Yeah,
regular soldiers. So here's a withdrawal slip.
yeah.
So
That's
she
the
went to
Central
cab.
African Building Society, by the way.
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah,
So she went there with my signed withdrawal slip, and she drew my payout. They were paying me still. So I thought, that's a bonus. And this carried on for a while. So we're in the pound seats here. Looking back in hindsight, of course, the whole thing crumbled anyway. So I mean, who cares?
yeah, yeah. Of course.
Who cares? I should have done it. I should have kept on at it. I only did a few months. I could have been, I could have drawn a pension eventually. Yeah.
So
And that
Harry,
was
so you got the emerald. You got some emeralds out. Were you able to sell them and turn it into cash?
yeah, very much so. But the thing about it was a kind of a double-edged sword, because uncut emeralds in South Africa are highly illegal.
Right, right.
They were only you were only clean if they were in the cut form.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a very, very dodgy business.
I got married young. My ex-wife and I were both 19 when we got married. After the even though you're only 19, after RLI, you feel like you're a grown man. Meanwhile,
Yeah,
back at the ranch, you're still a teenager. But you
yeah,
think,
but you were a man.
yeah, you were a man. You've done more living than most men do in their entire lifetimes. So,
Exactly.
but her mom worked at Meikle's Hotel as the cashier. And so she had a lot of tourists that used to come in there and exchange their foreign currency for Rhodesian dollars. And she used to pilfer this foreign currency. I don't know how she did it without being caught, but her husband was a golfer. And they used to roll up these US dollars and British pounds and everything and slide them down the shaft of the golf club.
Perfect.
And then they used to go on holiday to the UK, and he'd bring his golf clubs with him. And when they got into the UK, they'd pull the handle off, and out would come all these
Perfect.
rolls of foreign currency. But it's
Absolutely
amazing,
perfect.
as you say, what people were doing to try and get money out of Rhodesia. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, as you know, we're scattered all over the world now, aren't we?
yeah, indeed. How did you end up in Florida, Harry? Did
um,
you have an interesting life after the army? I'm sure you did.
yeah, pretty much. I was in England for a long time, and my son is a very keen motocross racer,
Right.
and the United States is a mecca for motocross, and he always wanted to come here. and he landed up here. We came over to visit him, and I said, "Gee, this is a nice place. I want to be here."
Yeah, yeah.
And we just followed over, and I'm a citizen. I'm an American citizen.
Wow, that's awesome. Tim Bax is also in Florida.
Yes, yes, yes. I did know that. Yes, yes. I've
Okay.
never bumped into him, but I do see on Facebook. Yeah.
I think he's at Lake Placid. I don't know Florida very well. I've only been to
Florida's
Miami.
big.
Yeah,
It's huge. It's like a big country.
right.
So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm in South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Have you been to the Florida Keys?
Yes, yes, oh, very much so. The most southern tip of America. It's a place to be. Everyone's got to go there at some stage.
Yeah, yeah. We kind of um, toying with the idea. I say we, myself, and another ex-special branch Rhodesian guy, who I won't mention his name, kind of been offered a contract, like a security contract in Cuba.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah, um, we had to choose between Cuba and Cameroon, but Cameroon, there's a lot of ISIS stuff going on there, whereas I think Cuba will probably be a lot safer. So we're probably going to Cuba.
Now I've got a lot of Cuban friends. I mean, the good Cubans ran away from Cuba. They all came to Miami.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Philippines has a history with the Spanish. There used to be a Spanish colony for many years, and then the Americans had a war with the Spanish round about when the Boer War was going on. I think at the same time as the
Okay.
Boer War, they fought the Spanish in Cuba and beat them. And I think that's no, I'm not a historian, but I think that's where Roosevelt uh,
Yeah,
became
yeah.
president of the United States after that. But he made a name for himself in Cuba fighting the Spanish. And when they beat the Spanish, the Americans inherited as part of their booty the Philippines, and so the Philippines then became an American colony. But
All right.
yeah, Harry, is that it?
Yeah,
Did you?
that's it, man.
Okay.
I'm done and all. I hope it went well.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Harry. That was very entertaining. Really appreciate it. Not much skopskitten Donna, but
Yeah, I kind of like that's been all said and done on your stuff. I think.
but it was really nice chatting to you again, Brew, and let's keep in touch.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, John.